Fellowship is a brand new cooperative dungeon crawler where you pick a hero, you queue up, and you run dungeons to fight countless bosses and clear challenges with your team. There's no open world, no fetching quests, no endless grinds or boring things to do, just instantaneous group content fun, scaling challenges, and progression that respects your time. From there, you build out your power using gear, an in-depth talent upgrade system, and a star map system that lets you visually see all of your progression. The core loop of this game is simple. You run a dungeon, you get some loot, you power up, and progress through the ranked tiers. The deeper you go, the harder and more challenging things become, but like usual, that's where all the rewards are. So today we're diving into exactly how Fellowship plays, what makes it fun, and everything you need to know as it has now officially arrived to early access. So right when you log in, the first thing you'll notice is that Fellowship hits you with a cool little cinematic, and then it lets you select one of your heroes. This is probably the one and only gripe I actually have with the game. I personally would have loved a basic character creator, even if it was just hair and beard options or maybe a gender selector. That said though, there are a total of 9 very different playable heroes, and they're all widely distinct. In Fellowship, every character plays drastically different. Each one has their own combat sort of cadence and rhythm, animation, and even a built-in like little bit of lore and personality, similar to like picking a champion in League of Legends, which I thought was cool. Each hero has mechanics that are complex enough to feel rewarding, but not so overwhelming that you need to study a guide or watch a 20-minute YouTube breakdown. It's that perfect sweet spot between easy to play but hard to master. So after you pick your hero, you load into the Stronghold, and that's where Fellowship really opens up. Think of this as your little town square meetup, a little matchmaking lobby, if you will. This is where you'll meet other players, you check out cosmetics and choose your wardrobe, you queue up for different dungeons, practice at the training dummies, literally everything you would need to get dialed into the game. You'll see players walking around, grouping up, talking. It's kind of like the tower in Destiny. It's not massive, but it does work. You'll notice also immediately how easy it is to get going into content. You've got 2 options and they're straightforward. You have a quick play mode, which throws you right into the adventure with randomized sort of teams and players and stuff based on their role. And then from there, you also have ranked, which ramps up the difficulty and starts dropping better rewards as you climb up the ranks. I love the fact that I simply click a button and I'm in a queue and I'm getting my pre-made team ready. There's no situation where I'm applying to a ton of groups and I'm getting declined 24/7. Nothing feels like a chore here. I simply click, I wait in my, minute queue, and that's about it. Once you've gotten your group together in the queue, whether through matchmaking or a pre-made, that's when the content, of course, starts. So after getting that all set up and being ready, I queued up for a quick match and jumped into my first game with Tarek. He plays kind of like a warrior and a shaman mixed together with a super interesting mechanic tied to his swing timer. Every hero has a very specific mechanic that's interesting. His case, it's a visual bar under your character that shows your attack swing. And if you use his heavy strike ability at the exact moment the white line hits the glowing red section, boom, it'll do a big heavy swing. You time it properly, it'll deal increased damage. It's a cool little, rhythmic mini game into your rotation, so it's kind of like shield twisting on a red paladin, and it hooked me instantly. I really, really liked it. On top of that, he has a 45-second cooldown that lets you go into like full lightning god mode, boost your damage, do all that fun stuff, which is nice. Like I said, every hero I've tried feels very different from the last. Their mechanics, their whole design, their animations, their effects, their talent trees, everything is very, very different, which I really enjoyed. If I had to rate their hero design on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it's very close to perfect. It's simple, but in-depth enough to where you're very interested to master it, and I really, really enjoy it. So in this quick run, we dove into Silken Hollow, which is a spider-themed dungeon filled with a bunch of, creepy corridors and spiders and stuff. As we move through, we have to hit the 100% kill threshold to complete the dungeon and go into the final boss room. So after that, we go in, we drop down to this huge spider layer and faced a, multi-phase boss with, poison zones, the tether mechanics and stuff, and then ads coming out. It took a little bit of time. The fight wasn't easy by all means, but we coordinated it. We got the kill and walked away with the loot. As I headed back to town, the game finishes breaking down all the, tutorials and systems to me, and then I started progressing toward my star map reward system. So Fellowship's progression is split into a few different layers that are important to know. First off, you've got gear, which is, of course, your weapons and armors with item levels, traits, stat boost, and that sort of thing to tie up directly to the power of your hero, like your item level. But then unlike a typical MMO where, you have your loot, you also have something which is a much larger system, which is the star map. The star map is basically your character-wide progression talent tree. You unlock nodes that give you permanent boosts, things like talent points, brand new abilities, mount cosmetics, and even your hero-specific ultimate ability. This is something that every hero unlocks that you only get to use like 2 or 3 times an entire dungeon. So when you use it, it feels incredible when you do. Overall, the star map system, it's very clean, it's simple, and it gives you a reason to keep on playing and progressing through the game. As we continue to complete some dungeons, I was given talent points to invest into the character's talent tree that we then customized. The system seems very simple on paper, similar to like Mr. Pandaria talent trees, but it's a lot more customizable than you would think. You don't simply just get one talent per row. You actually mix and match which talents you'd want to choose and what you wouldn't. For example, you can completely skip the first 3 rows of talents if you want, and then invest all into the 4th row. You can just completely customize it, and it's really, really awesome. I love that. On top of that, some of your items that you acquire, of course, have different stat bonuses and traits and potential tier set opportunities eventually later down the line, which I thought was awesome. So it's not really overwhelming. It's just enough customization to make sort of, the recrafting for your character feel worth it, which I really enjoyed. Finally, you also have, of course, cosmetic progression through ranked mode. You have challenges and even Twitch drops and stuff. They can earn you skins, armor sets, and mounts that you can flex in the Stronghold or just while you're out in the dungeons. You can even go to the wardrobe and select which pieces of armor you would like to show and toggle, or you can change the, materials of them, whether it be bronze or silver or whatever. Now, Contender is basically the start of your ranked journey in this game. You're placed into a league system with increasing difficulty tiers, and the deeper you go, the tougher the mobs get, the more affixes you get in your dungeon, and the better the loot you can obtain. It's where the game stops kind of like holding your hand and starts expecting you to know what you're doing to actually complete ranked and all the bosses and mechanics and stuff. I started pushing deeper into ranked brackets and, slowly going through the tiers, Contender 2, Contender 3, 4, 5, until we hit a wall, which of course meant it was time for me to go back to town, power up, and actually start fleshing out my character and build him a little bit better. So I went through the star map, I unlocked all my abilities and my talent points, I went to the vendors in town, I upgraded some equipment, I sold some stuff, the whole usual go back and regather myself to get more powerful thing. In the town, you have gear vendors, upgrade materials, utility items, and everything you buy is tied to your overall character development. It's very straightforward, and you just get your stuff, you get more powerful, and you keep queuing. At this point, I was testing different talents and build paths to see what worked for me personally. At this point, I was testing different talents and build paths, seeing what worked for me personally, what my playstyle, and every run of a dungeon at the end gave me more tools to mess around with, and it made me feel more powerful. That classic sort of like MMO grind where you visually feel everything gets stronger and easier. So at this point, I was beating, Contender 4, 5, and 6, and I was ready to go to the, capstone, which was Contender 7 of Kithril's Fall. Now, all the other dungeons that I encountered at this point were simple, 10 to 12 minute one boss dungeons, nothing too complicated. This dungeon was a full-blown event. It had 3 bosses, a very large map, and the mobs were substantially dialed up in terms of difficulty and mechanics. But I was ready, man. I was ready to dominate the dungeon. I went in there and I got my butt whooped. I got my butt whooped very, very bad. Multiple times, on multiple groups. We didn't even make it that far at all. It was a nice little humbling reminder. And that's when I realized Fellowship isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. I can't just simply brute force my way through everything. I had to build smart, react to the affixes, kick mobs properly, and build up my character for this because it's a very big event, which I thought was awesome. So after about 4 different attempts of failing this dungeon, I went in there fresh in the morning with a brand new build, brand new understanding of how everything works, and we actually got out of the dungeon alive. Not only that, I was left with some really awesome rare loot where I was lucky enough to get 2 items, and I completed my journey of progressing through the very first ranked bracket entirely. This allowed me to finish my star map progression for the first rank, where I earned some exclusive cosmetics, rewards, a mount and stuff, and the game politely reminded me also that I have a long way to go to progress through all of the other ranked brackets, so that was interesting. Now, after diving into pretty much almost everything Fellowship has to offer from a base gameplay standpoint, here are some of my honest takes and opinions. First off, if you love quick, low-commitment gameplay where you don't need to sink a ton of hours to make progress, this game is a banger. If you've got 20 to 30 minutes, maybe a day, you could log in, you queue up a dungeon or 2, you get your little fix in, and then you go to bed. That's very rare to find these days in a sort of RPG setting where things feel impactful, and honestly, it's one of the biggest strengths this game has. Also, hero and class design is another standout. It's very simple to understand, but deep enough to allow for, creative playstyles and layered mechanics to be built here. I really, really love this. Every hero I tried felt very different in a meaningful way, and I would say in terms of just a fun factor, it felt really, really good, and the class design itself is very high level. Some of the best I've ever played in RPG. Really, really enjoyed this stuff. Also, the talent tree system, especially through the star map, is very satisfying, very straightforward. It was confusing at first, right when I opened it up. I got intimidated, but it's actually very straightforward once they guide you through it and take you through all the systems. And then there's the art direction, which honestly, I freaking love, man. I love the whole comic book sort of classic RPG vibe. It works. It's warm, it's clean, it's smooth, and it gives the whole game an actual identity. I'm so tired of every game coming out trying to be this hyper-realistic Unreal Engine 5 bullcrap. I'm really happy Fellowship did this. They went their own route, and it's really, really cool. It has its own identity. And then lastly, I really respect, of course, how the game doesn't waste my time. No bloated tutorials, no rep grinds, no NPC spams or quests or traveling or anything. You log in, you queue, you learn your character, you get powered up. That's it, and I really, really love it. Now, that being said, I do have a couple of things that I sadly have to bring up. Number one, I would have loved the option to create my own character, even just basics like gender, hair, facial features. I get it's not an MMO, but with how good the art style is, a light customizer would have went a long way for someone like me who grew up and has played MMOs his entire life. Another one that's kind of funny is I wish I could have gone beyond the dungeon gates, beyond the confines of this small little sanctuary that we're in. I love the world. I actually think the characters, the login music is amazing. And I'm going to be honest, this is really weird, but I would enjoy seeing more of what this setting and universe could offer. It made me want to level up in an MMO-like setting in this world. So I wish there was a little bit more to dive into, whether it be maybe a story mode, or maybe a raid or something, challenge towers, exploration zones or something. That would be awesome. Of course, this game is in early access. It has a long way to go, but I feel like that would be cool. And then the last thing, I guess this could depend on the player. I'm going to keep playing Fellowship, but for me personally, it's a game I'm going to play in just shorter bursts. A few dungeons here or there. You test some builds. If there's a new character, I'll try out the new character, whatever. And that's totally fine. Not every game needs to be a second job, but if you're someone who needs big open worlds, giant guild systems, and something to log into every single day to sink 3-4 hours into, I don't know if Fellowship is going to be filling those shoes for you. I think this game is about more of a dungeon core loop, a few hours a week, and then you move on. All that said, though, I think Fellowship knows exactly what it is, and it delivers on its vision. If the developers keep building on this foundation, they give me more heroes, they listen to feedback the way they already have been, this game could be something really special in a, brand new genre, so I'm really, really excited. If you love dungeon-based combat in MMOs but hate all the grind that comes with it, once again, this is the game for you. If you ever wish you could just skip all of the bullcrap, log in and just play a game for what it is, Fellowship hits the nail on the head. This is the game. You buy it once, you have it forever. So listen up. Fellowship is officially out now in Steam Early Access. It's available for 10% off with our code down below. Click the link, guys. Don't miss out, I promise you. 100% this game is absolutely worth $20 to pay. A one-time purchase, no monthly sub, you play whenever you want, that's it. I'm personally going to be playing it in between World of Warcraft seasons 100%. Everything in this video was captured from the early access build, don't forget that, and the devs have already shown they've listened to feedback and they're improving things very quickly. Use the link below, guys. Don't forget, man. I'm telling you right now, you won't regret it. Of course, I'm going to be transparent. Today's video was a dedicated sponsor video, but like always, I turned down dozens of dedicated sponsor videos a week. The only time I ever put dedicated sponsor videos on the channel is if the game genuinely looks like something I would play, and Fellowship is something that caught my attention for a very long time, and I will be playing it continuously in early access leading into launch day. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about this video. If you pick it up, let's compare some builds, let's check it out, maybe even queue up together, who knows. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in Fellowship.